What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the interweb? Today is a Monday, and I hope your Monday has been going great. And if it hasn't, then sit back and let's talk about why Sly 5 or a new Sly Cooper game could come in 2019. If this is your first video in this series that we watch, then every December I talk about games that I would like to see show up in 2019 or the new year, and I talk about why it realistically could and realistically could not happen. This year, we're talking about Sly Cooper in a new Sly Cooper entry. So we're gonna always start with why. Do you like my little French accent there? It was kind of weird. I don't know why I did it, but it'll make sense in a second. So we're going to be talking about why at first it realistically could not happen, and then realistically why it could not happen is because 1, Sucker Punch still exists, and 2, for some reason Sanzaru Games will not let go of the fact that VR will not take off. They are still pumping out VR games thinking it's going to take off, but spoiler alert, it's not going to take off, you better stop. So Sanzaru Games did somewhat stop and do a good thing, most recently with Spyro Reignited Trilogy. For those of you guys that don't know this, Spyro Reignited Trilogy works because Toys for Bob outsourced to Sanzaru, and Toys for Bob outsourced to former Spyro devs of the original games. Now, if this was up to just Toys for Bob, this game would have been one huge flop. It would not work. I am fully convinced the start screen wouldn't even pop up if this was done just by Toys for Bob. But this is about Sly Cooper, not Spyro. So, if Sanzaru Games could, straighten up their act, maybe we get a Sly 5, because I'm pretty sure Sucker Punch did say that they are not interested in making a new Sly Cooper game, which it's okay. Naughty Dog says the same with Jak and Daxter, so they both moved on to realistic games. Sanzaru has moved on to realistic games, but they have not moved on to realistic ideas because they're still in the VR world thinking VR is going to take off. So that's why it realistically could not happen, but why it realistically could happen is because in October 2019, we are getting a brand new Sly Cooper television animation, but it's being done by a French studio. And if you follow movies or entertainment in general, you know if it's not done by a Mexican company, an American company, a Canadian company, a Japanese company, or a South Korean company, or even a Chinese company, that is going to be one huge flop, flop, like a bigger flop than the Netherlands and the 2014 World Cup against Mexico. No era penal, it'll always be no era penal. Even if it's 2081, it'll always be no era penal. That should have not been what happened to get Mexico out of the World Cup in 2014. But this is not about the World Cup. So everyone knows that though. Everybody knows if it's not by one of the countries I listed, that it's going to be a really, really bad animation, or it's going to be a really, really bad game. Except for the UK. The UK, they're good at games, but they're not good at making movies or animations. Good God, they are not. And Poland, they're good at making games too. But this is about movies and TVs, not games. So I just want to say that real quick. So this show is probably not going to do so hot in the ratings. It's probably going to do really good in the views, like really, really good. I'm going to say it's going to have at least like a 1.2 million viewership for its first episode. And it's probably going to have probably somewhere around like a 2.3 out of 5-star rating for the first show. And the entire series in general, I'm going to say it's going to sit around like 2.9, 2.8. But still, with 1.3 million viewers, if it can pull that for each episode, then that'll be enough for Sony to look at it and say, hey, how are you doing today? It's a good day today. Caillou. Or something like, realistically, they'd probably actually say, not Caillou. They'd probably say, maybe we should do a brand new Sly Cooper game. Or maybe we should ask Bluepoint, our little friends over here, our sweatshop workers, if they want to make a brand new Sly Cooper remake. Because if you look at Shadow of the Colossus and you look at Medieval, they have proved to everybody that that company can do both the cartoon style and the realistic style. So maybe for the launch of the PlayStation 5, we could get a brand new Sly Cooper remake to go with the television show. Maybe they could completely remake the first Sly Cooper game, or maybe just in general could not be Bluepoint. Maybe Sony will license it out to anyone else and just have, a brand new Sly Cooper game to go along with the TV show. Madagascar did it, so why couldn't Sly Cooper and PlayStation do it? Another reason why that a realistic Sly Cooper game could show up in 2019 is because it's Sly Cooper, and Sly Cooper's retro. And what's the big thing going on right now? It's retro. If you look at new IPs are trash. New IPs are horrible. Horizon Zero Dawn was okay, but the rest are trash. God of War, why did it do good? Because people are nostalgic about the original God of War series. Spider-Man, why did it do good? Because it was almost as good as Spider-Man 2. That's why it did good. Spyro Reignited Trilogy, why is it doing good? Because it's Spyro Retro Series. Smash Brothers, it is the biggest exclusive of the year for any console. Why is it doing good? Nostalgia. Pokemon, nostalgia. Red Dead Redemption 2, nostalgia. The Red Dead series, even though they no longer have anything to do with Red Dead anymore, have been going around for almost 20 years. It is nostalgia. Same with all these animes that are popping up and doing great, even though they're not such great anymore. It's nostalgia. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, nostalgia. Sword Art Online Alkalization, nostalgia. It's just nostalgia is king of everything right now. It really is. You can have a horrible product, put an old name on it, and it'll do great. Spyro Reignited Trilogy is a broken mess, but it's still doing great because of nostalgia. Crash Bandicoot, Insane and Trilogy Remaster, Team Racing, whatever it's called. Nostalgia. Nostalgia is king right now. When this retro bubble breaks and when it busts, Sly Cooper may not be doing so hot anymore. Jak and Daxter Collector's Edition just sold out in like 30 seconds. Why? Nostalgia. So 100% of the time, nostalgia, if any game at all has any form of nostalgia with it, it's going to sell great. I mean, even just look at, August with Shenmue 1 and 2 HD Remaster. Nobody's thought or cared about Shenmue except for the Shenmue fans for almost 20 years. Why did it do great? Nostalgia. It was one of the most sold HD remasters of this generation, period, and it's only been out a couple months, and that's going against with all these other great HD remasters that have came out since the dawn of time, okay, or since the dawn of this generation actually. But that's all nostalgia. So not bringing back Sly Cooper right now in the height of nostalgia would be insane. Nostalgia world, or nostalgia era, we'll call it nostalgia era, it started in 2017. If they had waited 1 year for the Ratchet and Clank movie and just let it come out in 2017, it would have been an entirely different story. So with nostalgia being a huge thing right now, and retro stuff coming back left and right, like look at all these indie games that are taking on the PlayStation 2 style or the NES style. They are doing great because it takes people back to a different time. And especially all these classic consoles, even though Sony dropped the ball with the PlayStation Classic, there is still a lot of nostalgia factor there. There is realistically so many reasons why that this could happen. I honestly would love to see a new Sly Cooper game, and this is all the reasons I can think why a new Sly Cooper game would come about, except for one more. There's a little sneaky sneak in here for you. Sucker Punch finishes Ghost of Tsushima in the coming year, and it will launch on the PlayStation 4 if what they said hasn't changed in 2019. That'll mean they're going to be open to anything. And Sanzaru Games, they're just doing like VR games, and so they definitely need the money. They need money desperately at this point. They are on the verge of going out of business doing just VR games. So they will probably be very interested in making a Sly Cooper game too if the Sly Cooper TV show does well. So we could have an announcement towards the end of next year that Sly Cooper could be showing up in some form of the manner. I don't know how it could show up. Maybe finally we could get the PlayStation 2 classics on the PlayStation 4 for Sly Cooper. Maybe finally Sly Cooper will get its full, glorious, full 4K. See what I did there? Because Sly is an animal and he's covered in fur. But anyways, they could get a full 4K remake or remaster. That would be amazing. I mean, think about this. The PlayStation 5 rumored to launch next year. And if it does, then what better way to do it than it being Sony's first console that supports 4K and the first game to be 4K and that console be a Sly Cooper remake. Like, how huge would that be? That could bring about brand new Sly Cooper games in the future just based off of how good it could possibly do. But that's all I have to say today. So the next episode will be a surprise, But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Sayonara.